Welcome to another episode of today's yoga question. If you like this format, you might enjoy enrolling in our monthly mentorship program, Office Hours, by visiting www.lassiter.yoga. I'm Lizzie Lassiter, and joining me is Judith Hanson Lassiter. Hi, Mama.
Hi, Lizzie.
What is the most important practical teaching tip that you can give to new teachers?
Don't do it. Don't do it. No, I love teaching. But we all have a moment of panic, I think. Or at least, at the very least, we're unsure before we teach our first class. And I thought you might like to be reminded, and our listeners might like to hear about what happened to me when I taught my first class.
Yes.
I was asked to take over a 200-person yoga program, classes every day from Monday through Friday. I had been practicing for 10 months. I had no formal training of any kind. What I lacked in knowledge, I think that I made up in extreme enthusiasm. So I, in a crazy moment, said yes. And then the Monday morning when I walked in to teach my first class, and I sat on my little yoga rug, the one you've seen hanging in my office now, I sat there and there were, 20 people, 25 people, whatever, and they were lying down because that was what we did in those days. And I became rather uncomfortable. What am I going to say? The class was an hour. The beginning classes were an hour, and the more experienced students came for an hour and a half. So I thought, what do I do? What do I do? And I remembered, oh, yes, what you do is you close your eyes and breathe. So I did. And when I did that, I was blessed, and I really mean that word. I was blessed with this very, feelings aren't concrete, I guess, but it was very concrete. This sense of my two teachers standing behind me and their teacher behind them, and then a line of teachers back into infinity were my teachers, and then they had an Indian teacher, and it just went back very, very far. And I felt this wave of relief and comfort go through my body and my emotions and my mind, because I realized that I was a link in a chain, that in a very important way, what I was doing was just, I was not the teaching, I was merely the messenger. And I think, and the image that I had was they handed me a bucket full of water, and I was not the water. I was merely the bucket. And I surrendered into, accepted that idea that I was just handing it to the next person, this teaching. And that gave me a great deal of comfort. So I think it's important when we teach that we have a moment's quiet before we teach, and we honor our lineage, known or unknown, that we are part of a great chain that has gone on for a long time. And it's not just about us. And that helped me focus on my students and the teaching and not myself. So that's half of it. And I think you've heard me tell that story probably before.
Yeah, I love that story.
So and that's a really important thing to remember. But then there's what seems like an opposite way of looking at it, which I think is equally important. It's maybe the yin yang. And it's a mantra I teach in every teacher training. And I have them say it out loud 3 times every once in a while, like they're in the 2nd grade. And that teaching is trust yourself first. So they say it 3 times, trust yourself first, trust yourself first, trust yourself first. And then I remind them, I didn't say trust yourself only. But trust yourself first is a powerful way of remembering that you have something to offer, that you have information which I think is important but not sufficient to be a good teacher. So when I say trust yourself first, trust your own intuition, trust what arises in you in the moment, trust your training, your legacy, your intuition, your hunches, your where you naturally want to go. You have a plan to teach something, you walk in, someone says something to you, and you launch off in that direction, or when you're interacting one-on-one, you have a hunch and you follow it. You trust yourself. You trust that you know what you need to know. Even and in that moment, you trust what you need to know will arise in you, even if that is, I don't know. You trust the feeling of I don't know. You don't try to be all things to all people and to answer every question. So it's a dichotomy, I think, of trust the lineage, trust the teaching, trust what you've been given, trust the process of becoming the water bearer, and at the same time trust yourself. And somehow that goes together and makes, I think, a blend that brings us into the present, into ourselves without so much ego of I'm busy teaching a yoga class. It's like a yoga class is being taught through me and with me, and I can enjoy sailing on that process, surfing on that process.
That's such a lovely image, and I think the perfect place to end. Thank you so much, Mama.
Thank you very much. Namaste.
Namaste. And thank you for joining us, dear listener. If you like this format, I encourage you to join our monthly mentorship program called Office Hours, and you can read all about it and watch a short video at www.lassiter.yoga. Namaste.